And now here's Kimberly Gogan with the Office of the Guardian. Hi, Kim.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. Our
And
last newscast before Christmas.
I was just going to say that this is the last time I will see you before Christmas. So I wanted to wish you a Merry Christmas to you and your family.
Aw, thank you.
So I hope you have a wonderful day. And yeah, it's going to be kind of crazy, or was crazy, I should say.
Okay.
So we still have some people, mainly generals and some Jesuits and a few people that decided to keep with the plan. The plan being, they have a distorted view and very little knowledge and very little information which had been passed on to them from the people that are no longer with us.
Right.
And they were under the impression, and they had taken some time to review this, they were under the impression that based on their data, okay, try not to fall out of your chair laughing, based on their data that they had found, these old texts, was the solstice, on the solstice of this year, they were all going to be picked up in a ship. At least this is their interpretation, because the interpretation has changed.
Okay.
Because they are the chosen ones. Mm. This is the 144,000 rapture that's spoken about. Yes, they're the special people. They're the descendants of the Anunnaki. And this is even evident when you look at the Q clock and see who they think they are. Mm-hmm. Then, once that was done, planet Earth would be wiped out. There would be a harvest. Now, we have a harvest that used to happen every year based on on a limited basis. So the harvest that would take place once a year was mainly loosh harvesting. So there would be a huge amount of energy drawn from us as we were celebrating holidays. Those are all the holidays that happen in December. And that has not happened in a while. I think 2018 was the last time that actually took place. But they are, let's just say, a little bit behind the times. And then once every 7 or so years, according to their data, maybe it's 20 years or 50 years or whatever, there would be a somewhat cleansing of Earth. Maybe it's once every 100 years. I don't know. Once every 1,000 years. There's different, let's just say, mini harvests that used to take place on Earth. But this one here that was supposed to take place this year, at least in their mind, was the biggie. So that's why they were going to be, the aliens were coming to help them. They were going to take them. I know. Try not to laugh, Sonny. I know.
You're very creative.
I know. They thought that they were going to be picked up by a ship and saved as they wiped out all of humanity and the planet. And then they were going, once it was safe to do so, they were going to be returned to Earth to repopulate the Earth with their own bloodlines.
Wow.
I know. But this is what they were talking about last night or yesterday in the afternoon. It's also the reason why we went from dead silence in the Middle East into a bunch of different narratives. It's also the same reason why we started seeing an uptick in live fire yesterday, all day. And they didn't realize until this morning that no one came to pick them up. So they started to recalculate things a little bit. Maybe we got the day wrong. Maybe, maybe it's in a few days. Maybe it's, towards the end. I don't know. So they're still hopeful that somebody is going to pick them up. And apparently these aliens also know how to defecate quarters or something because they believe there's a windfall due to them also. Yes, coming very soon. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry. The world is run. Everybody's lives, at least within their own or their former own, is run on this type of can't use that word on the news. Baloney. And it's a shame, really, because we could have gotten this party started before Christmas. We could have gotten these operatives paid. We could have done a lot of different things that would have made it better for everyone. But unfortunately, and it's personal choice too. They believe this rah-rah session they had yesterday afternoon that explained to them it's all going to be fine.
How many people would you say are part of that? Like, who's in this faction, this group that thinks they're going to be picked up by aliens?
The ones that are reading this mess, probably 20 to 30. Not that
people?
Many.
That's it? That's not that many people.
No, not that many. So then what would happen? So that was going to start last night. And everybody's still here. We're all still here. It's all right. All is right with the world so far. Now, they figured the harvest would probably take between today and the 26th or so. It's going to take a few days. It's not going to happen overnight. Could take even as long as the 1st of January, according to these texts. Wiping out 8 billion people isn't an easy task. There would be a pole shift. Some people would stay floating around in the ocean. Can't have that. But, they'd drown within a few days. Can only tread water so long. That's what they figure, I'm assuming. And nothing actually happened. So nothing got started. We're good. But this is also the reason why they were spraying chemtrails on us too. Now, these were different types of chemtrails that they had gotten out of a facility in New Jersey. And these were metals, heavy metals, that's true. They are known as a metamaterial or a made metal. So they're not something you could find in our periodic table or anything like that. And they save the best for last. So these are apparently harvest chemtrails that we're seeing now. And it's part of the reason why a lot of people are not feeling well from them, even worse than normal. So that facility is not there anymore. How much they have left in the air or, on the runway, I don't know. We've been working on that. But that's why they said they wanted to keep spraying until the end of the week. So these metamaterials, let me explain them to you. They are not actually designed to physically harm you per se themselves. They are designed to be superconductors for dark consciousness.
Oh, interesting.
Dark matter, dark energy, and that is what actually would have physically harmed you through all your planes of existence. It's part of the Harvest program. Apparently, there's probably a handbook for that with a list of things you do, tick, 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 like Santa's checklist, I guess, in order to make this happen. So they had decided if this information is true, we might as well give it a go. We should do all the things on our checklist that, the functions we're supposed to perform so that we are been good little boys and girls in the eyes of the aliens that are going to come pick us up. I mean, we don't want to be left behind.
So are they physically doing this themselves? Or are the operatives helping them? Because it's not a big group of people to carry this out.
Whether or not they know it, that is the reason for the rah-rah session they had yesterday. I call it a rah-rah session. That's when, all right, everybody's together now. We're so excited for what's going to happen. And the tides are going to turn in our favor. And you're going to be included in this. And we're going to pay you big money. And everything's going to happen. And we're going to be in charge. And we're going to be the only ones in charge on this planet. So they left out all of the intricate details. Of why they were all doing this. And I can tell you right now, there was only 144,000 slots, and there are more than 144,000 people included in this mess.
Are they taking that from the Bible? I mean, obviously the 144 are mentioned in the Bible. Is that where they're getting their cue from?
Yeah, they're the chosen ones. Yeah. Um, from my understanding, the entire book of Revelations, for lack of a better term, I mean, and I'm not saying the entire Bible, so don't take this the wrong way, but the book of Revelations was an afterthought and not written by, let's just say, a human getting information from source or from God and writing that information down. These were things that were supposed to happen during the harvest.
Right. So, I mean, it was John that reportedly wrote Revelation in the Bible,
Yeah.
at least. And so I always thought it could be a different timeline. I was like, well, maybe that happened on another timeline, but maybe not. Like, how do you think that it came about?
Well, the last time something like this took place, and it has taken place,
right,
was when we transitioned into the Dark Ages.
Okay.
So that was a long time ago in Earth's time. And yes, we had humans on the planet at that time. And they were under the impression it always happens. See, this is where you don't know how to read these old texts, or they don't, I should say, because
Okay.
they were under the impression, since we're transferring into a new age now, that this same process repeats itself and we all get wiped out and we start all over. That is absolutely not the case. If we were to transition into a neutral age, what would have happened if that were to take place? We have plenty of room on this planet. The planet would have been more of a balanced planet. In other words, we would have had just as much light coexisting with just as much dark, and we would have had to learn how to all get along and no one is in charge.
Right.
That's how it works. We have equal power. But since these dumb humans don't understand that, and they are dumb humans, sorry, but because they don't understand that was off the agenda now. So we're transferring into a light age, which means that the dark ones are the ones that are actually removed, meaning sent back to source. That's why for the last several months, thousands and thousands and the legions came, and, those are your aliens. Those are the only ones you're getting. And yes, they're attacking your side. Okay. That's all you're getting, because we are going into a light age now. So what you're doing is no longer permitted in this world. You will be taken out, and there'll be more people to depart today, I'm sure, for their shenanigans yesterday. So that is the reason why, the Q posts are posting, this is your last Christmas, prepare, enjoy it. Ha. By the end of the day, the 26th, we were all supposed to be gone, I guess. I'm sure of it, according to their plans. And then, of course, then they could come back to Earth, Earth would be all dark then. They would come back to Earth, repopulate the Earth, and they would be paid significant sums of money for doing their part in the harvest plan.
What good is all that money if you don't have anyone to share it with? You come back to a planet where you got to repopulate the whole thing? That sounds like not a good plan.
I think this is where in their version, that Hitler used to talk about Valhalla. And he used to talk about, that's also old Nordic talk too. And they used to talk about Valhalla, and they used to talk about the virgins. Okay. You'd need a lot. Yeah, a lot of them. And you'd be very busy, boys, trying to make that happen, 144,000. Well, remember, they only need 500 million. So, it might take a few centuries, but they'd get there. For all I know, there could have been something planned in the lower astral at one point in time or something like that for this. But next, as part of this operation, Elon Musk thought that his Starlink system was going to be able to connect to a quantum AI system, because they were going to get that back as well. They were going to get Omega back and be the only quantum AI system on the planet. So that would have meant during this, apparently the Alpha system also was raptured at the same time. Yeah. So So that is what's been going on for the last 24 hours. I'm a little bit tired. Okay, so aside from that, there were other things that were part of the old Lushing every year plan. Now this comes this is relative to Christmas and other holidays that humans celebrate. So as one example, in Catholic churches, located in most all the altars around the world is this same dark consciousness metamaterial.
Oh, jeez.
I know, with a larger facility that used to be located underneath the Vatican to collect that consciousness and that loosh. Because you may remember where we might all be tired at midnight mass if you're Catholic or whatever, but you generally are very happy to attend a mass this time of year. Mm-hmm. You know, you're very thankful and Christ is coming and those types of things. So this makes for good looshing. Mm-hmm. And this loosh would go to one of the original Abraxas females that existed on this planet, and her name was Mernith. And you can look up this name. There is some articles about an archaeological site with Mernith and the jars of wine. They say it's wine. It wasn't wine. It was loosh. It was during a first looshing experience on the planet. And there was a storage facility underneath there that would then transport all your essence and your energy to the lower astral every year, like clockwork. I know. So that is part of the reason why they have perverted this holiday quite a bit, because it's celebrated by all those, you know, that are positive, you know, on the light side, or organic humans, and all those who are not. So you get both flavors of loosh around that time. Then once the harvesting loosh, you know, these are the smaller harvests that we would have. Once the harvesting was done, then the deep state would have gotten paid for transference of that loosh. Hence the reason why the Jesuits were so heck bent on continuing with the plan. Mm-hmm. Crazy. Because of the facility underneath the Vatican. Unbeknownst to them.
Does that facility still exist?
No. Okay. No. That facility hasn't been there for a while, and it was tied to the Kali Ma. There was a Kali Ma energy program, AI version of the Kali Ma, which the Kali Ma is Isis, throughout history, Isis, Nefertiti, Lilith.
I'm familiar with that name. It actually was used in an Indiana Jones movie. I think the second one, they're doing some satanic ritual and they keep calling out that name. When you said it, I'm like, oh my gosh, that just popped in my head. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So they are, you know, they're under the impression they're doing quote unquote God's work, you know, by wiping us all out and starting over, because that's what God wants, because it's written in some ancient text by some people that have lied to them tremendously. And if they haven't learned anything in the last several years, you know, they should have learned that one, that they've been lied to, because the dates come and go, the dates, you know, pass, nothing happens, no money happens, and it's always based on some crazy fanatical story that was passed to them by the ultimate lying groups within the multiverse. You know, the groups that Abraxas were always full of it. I mean, they never told these humans the truth. They could care less if you lived or died or were wiped out with the rest of us. You think you're the chosen ones, and I hate to break it to you, but you're not. You're human. You put your pants on the same way we all did this morning. You did brush your teeth just like everybody else, hopefully, and you went on about your day reading ridiculous texts. So, I mean, was there even a possibility of this happening? No, there's no mechanism to make this happen. There might have been a few little things, you know, here and there that maybe had a little bit of dark energy or something like that, but it's like a broken program. It's like a motherboard that's not connected fully. The circuits are not, you know, the elevator's not going all the way to the top, so to speak, anymore. So
Yeah.
that's pretty much what we were supposed to be expecting with all of these We're All Gonna Die programs that they're putting out in the alt media and in the media. Nasara Jasara, Trump's coming back on January 1st. Yeah, they're just pushing you off until you all kick the bucket. I mean, they're not, they have no intention of following through with any of this stuff. And they know it too. They do know it. Now the Q clock is reading that the Anunnaki were always been here. We walk amongst you. And I guess that's what they're calling themselves.
Oh, now they're calling themselves Anunnaki.
Yeah, they're the angels, Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
You sure look like an angel when you were bombing the holy crap out of the Middle East, and telling Turkey that they're going to be invaded by Iran any minute. Yep. You definitely were looking angelic at that time. I'm surprised you didn't sprout wings. Maybe you needed to drink a Red Bull. Isn't that what Red Bull says? It gives you wings.
It
gives you
does.
wings.
Yeah.
Maybe you need a Red Bull or something. But that is part of the reason for the perversion of the Christmas Day holiday. And that doesn't mean it's a bad day. And it doesn't mean it doesn't have a alternative positive meaning either. Because in the past, long before all of the stories that we see in the Bible and long before we went into the Dark Ages, it was always a day of a gift from Source. And that gift began on the 21st.
Yeah.
So it was always a positive day. And I don't want people to stop celebrating, holidays or time with family or whatever it is, because you think that everything you read on the internet tells you that it's bad, because it's not necessarily evil. Mm-hmm. It's what you make it. It's your intention. Yeah. It's what's behind it. Now, conversely speaking, on our side of it, we actually had a lot of positive things happen last night and this morning. I've been very, very busy all day and since about 2 a.m. But I'm excited to say that we haven't utilized it yet because I haven't had time to do that because the remnants took time. But we actually broke through to where the harmonic genesis system can actually reach directly to the customer portal now as of this morning.
What?
I know.
What? That's
we did.
Huge.
Yes. So I will, when I'm done with the news here, I will go and start running some tests because we just finally finished that this morning. There was some information that came in from, what do you want to call it, the big boss last night. And so then we acted upon it this morning. We finished what we needed to do. And we should have a wonderful Christmas this year. I mean, if nothing else, we have a return of the crystalline energy that's coming through now on the 21st again, where it didn't before. It made their programs basically non-functional. So there was a positive turn of events that happened last night in our favor. And we're just going to keep it moving. I mean, we are doing very, very well. I was very happy with the results of last night and this morning. I listened to some of their meetings last night and very early this morning, probably about 4 o'clock this morning, my time. And I'm like, what? I guess this is the plan. Trust the plan. Who says trust the plan? This is going to be your last Christmas. Bend over and kiss your booty goodbye.
Is that really what the clock is saying now? Not kiss your booty, but because I know they had some weird stuff kind of posted last Christmas, whatever. But are they really saying stuff like that?
What it's saying is, let's see. It says, define Anunnaki. We never left. That would be them, standing right in front of you. You just can't see. And it says something about a 4D gateway. It says, do you really think we were going to tell the entire world how to pass through the 3D light layer that's trapping you into 4D? Absolutely not. Everyone is jabbed with poison That's our chemtrails and everything else. This is our supposed to be our dark energy conductors. The choice to know is yours. Leave the world behind. He quotes the movie, The Gatekeepers, quote unquote. So apparently these people still think they're the gatekeepers here on Earth, and they're not.
Yeah.
Remember we talked about the gatekeeper system, all of that? That was all tied to these people. That is no longer the case, but they still, for some reason, believe that they're the special people. And they tell you right there, that's not even coming from my mouth.
Yeah.
And what they mean by the 4D, okay, so whether or not that's in their writings, I don't know. So I'm assuming they're talking about the fourth density.
Mm-hmm.
So in the multiverse, let's start there, and I'll explain to you what that means. In the multiverse, between the fifth and sixth density, not planes, densities, there was at one point in time for lack of a better term, how do I explain this in a way that you'll understand? It would have looked like a wormhole, a temporal anomaly, something that was the vacuum line that took out all of the energy every year. It was also connected to the parasites that we all had that would take all the light energy out, and it would transfer it over to the Omegaverse, to what they call the womb of the goddess. Now, the womb of the goddess, I know, this is your feminine side of anti-source, is what it would have been. And that would have generated the new souls, or inorganic souls, for the inorganic beings that existed in the lower astral, that most of you watching this would call demons.
Okay.
So anti-source cannot create without source energy. So that was the spot where that was at. And so this was obviously something that would become hyperactivated during a harvest time. Mm-hmm. It would also be something that would become hyperactivated during a looshing time. And so they were expecting this thing to start reactivating and regenerating those, 90 some odd AIs in the lower astral, based on the amount of looshing and those types of things. Matter of fact, they were counting on it. They were counting on that to regenerate anti-life in the lower astral, and apparently a ship as well that was going to come pick them up. They were counting on it. Now, when they say they're blocking you from getting to past 4D, they're actually not talking about D as in density or D as in dimension. They're actually talking about between the fourth and the fifth planes of existence. This was your red line. And what I mean by red line, there was an enormous amount of red plasma that existed between there. And that plasma layer would have prevented you from, it was a consciousness, so it would have prevented you, the average everyday person, from passing through the astral plane to the causal plane, and then, of course, all the way up to source. And it also was what created a disconnection in the past from your Akashic records, from all of these, from you being able to read all that stuff. So yes, what the statement that they wrote was correct, like months ago. I mean, maybe even a year. That hasn't been there for a long time now. So I'm not really quite sure. Like I said, they're reading old papers. Did you really think we would let you? Look at these people. And we all know that the Q movement, quote unquote, is tied to Trump. Mm-hmm. We have become familiar with that. Some even say that Trump is Q. That's what they say. I'm not saying that's what I'm saying. I mean, that's what. Now, more and more, not only through this clock and through other things that they're saying, it clearly tells you what I've been telling you for a while now, for a few years anyway. It tells you we are bad people. We are preventing you from getting to source unless it's through
very
us.
Obvious. Yeah, very obvious now. Yeah.
You know, enjoy your last Christmas. You're all going to die.
I wonder how the Q people feel. I mean, they thought these guys were their heroes, and now they're reading this stuff. A lot of them may not even have ever heard of the Anunnaki before. They're like, what the hell is this?
Well, you know, I'm sure there's a lot of people looking them up online. You know, Anunnakis were those that worshipped Anu.
Yeah.
They are not angels. They are not anything special. They were folks that worshipped Anu, which was the king of the Draco at the time. So, and then there was anti-Draco. So you never know which one you're going to get, which one you're playing with. You don't. They all clone themselves down there, including Anu. So that's what an Anunnaki is. Bottom line, period. Makes sense, right? You know, if you're from Great Britain, you're British. If you're from America, you're American. You know, if you're worshiping Anu, you know, or you're from the kingdom of Anu, then you're an Anunnaki. So yes, there's going to be a lot of disappointed people. You know, and they're probably thinking, oh, this is the world, the end is here, and all of this. They're probably thinking oh, go white hats, you're getting the deep state. You didn't think you were all going to die.
Oh my gosh.
I know. Well, I just thought I'd point that out to you because just relax. Everything is going to be fine. The world's not ending. They'll leave the world behind. We're not leaving the world behind. We will still be here on Christmas. We'll still be here after New Year's, you know, and, you know, things are getting better. We're actually, it's helping us. It's not hurting us any. It's helped us. So we are making progress. I was also told by those that refused, because that's why they refused to. There was people that came right behind our guys that called and said cancel the chemtrails, and said continue them. Then they called the commanding officers and ordered them, and they listened because they're Jesuits. Yep, and they told them that they were going to run out by the end of the week. Anyway, so I have been seeing them horrible here. I know everybody's upset. I have received emails about how sick people are, you know, based on these chemtrails right now. And I know it and I understand it. We are working on some other things with the others to get rid of those heavy metals. I mean, we are doing our part as best we can. You know, if that is the only storage facility, it's no longer there. We're going to try to hunt down the rest of anything that might be out there to try to get it to stop. But this all just took place like in the last 2 hours. So, you know, and I know people are anxious. I'm anxious too. It has been a longer road for me than it has for all of you. And maybe not all of you, you know. I mean, traveling around the world, learning every day, learning what these people do, learning about all this information that I give you is all coming from me. It's not coming from another human. There's no other source out there except for obviously Source itself and some others that we have communications with. But there's no other, you know, there's Council of Five, Council of Nine, the Universal Council, the Enforcer. So we all share information, of course, and then I share it again with you. But I learn from these people every single day. Now, I would encourage the crazy people reading old text to probably, I don't even know if they'd believe anybody. Their ego will not permit them to.
I don't think so either.
No. Yeah. So, then they talk about if it doesn't happen now, then it could possibly happen during the second Lionsgate of the year in early February.
It goes on and on.
These are, I think, I'm just telling you what they're kicking around. I'm telling you the truth. This is what is going on. So there are others that think maybe there's apparently a solstice that takes place or an eclipse or something. I think in April of this year or next year, 2024, April of 2024. So they're talking about that. And then maybe Lionsgate next August. So for all of you operatives and treasuries and governments and that might be watching this, just so you know, this is what the people that told you to wait until after January 1 to sit down and move forward, this is what you have to look forward to. They are now kicking around dates that are, more than a year away. And also, there's a lot of panic going on out there right now, too, because the Treasury is actually seeing real numbers again. And it's scary. It's even scarier than they ever thought possible. So now that they can see the harmonic genesis fully, down to those levels, they can't hide it anymore. There is a lot of banks that are freaking out right now. The Fed is also in a full-on panic. Treasury's in a full-on panic. And, unfortunately, you're going to have to sit in this mess with all of us and exist until God says it's time for you to depart. You don't get to pick it. So there you go. I think that's worse. I think it's worse to have them sit here with the rest of us, what they considered cattle, and have to live like us and work like us and do things that we do, and they're no longer the elite. I think that is probably worse than departing the planet rapidly.
As long as they can't hurt people,
Yes.
If they're, if we've taken away all their toys, then.
And the protection of your life or the life of an innocent. But who knows? Who knows what they're going to do next? If there's going to be another group that gets a bright idea based on ancient texts. I don't know if they've gone through their whole checklist yet. They could be waiting for some event on Christmas or the 26th or whatever, but nah, it'll pass.
But are the operatives really listening to them anymore? Because when we talked before, we said we had 100% from the operatives.
Yeah, we did. We did. They just asked them, they said it's all happening. It's going to be before the end of the year, so on and so forth. They tried not to give them dates, but others were demanding answers.
Yeah.
They explained, like I said, in part, things like the world is going to change. It's going to change in our favor, and you're a part of it. Well, yes, you're a part of it. You were going to be floating away in the ocean because there was going to be a tsunami in a pole shift. Yes, you were a part of it. Congratulations, everyone.
Like
you were almost
all
a part
over
of it.
again is what it is.
Yeah. Well, they just needed them to perform their function, for a little while longer is what it's all about. They wanted them to jump up and jump at the chance of being part of it.
Were there operatives that bought that after all the operatives have been through and been led on all these wild goose chases? People bought into that? The operatives?
It appears 1 week wasn't going to hurt anybody in their mind. I'm going to be off celebrating with my family anyway, or whatever we're going to be doing. So, yeah. So they thought, a couple weeks, well, that's the big deal. We'll just wait. And we haven't, transferred money successfully. I haven't tried since all the changes last night, directly to them, without any help or any government or anybody getting involved. So, that being said, I can see why they say that, well, maybe if she gets lucky between now and then, I'll be there in a heartbeat.
I see.
I didn't buy that much food for Christmas dinner. I'm just telling you ahead of time. So, but I'm hoping to have a wonderful weekend. And I hope you will too, Miss Sunny. I think we're going to skip some questions today.
Yes. Yep, we're going to have a shorter newscast today, guys, since it's the holidays, and we want you guys all spending time with your families instead of I mean, we love hanging out with you, but
Yeah, that's true. But we are doing very well. I'm very happy with the results of yesterday.
good.
So I hope you enjoy your holiday meals if that's what you're doing this week or the next few days. I will probably try and do some kind of an update for you. If I don't have time to do it on Christmas morning or, the day before or that night, I will try to do it. Maybe I'll even jump on live. Who knows?
Oh, yeah.
Maybe I will, and just give you a little bit of an update on what's happened since today for Monday. Might just be World Situation Report. We'll see. Maybe it'll be a really good World Situation Report.
Yeah.
We don't know. But I expect some more changes to take place between now. And I'm just talking about on our side of it. I'm not talking about them changing their mind. They're probably going to still they've got their bags packed, go bag as they call it. And, they're going to go stand on a mountaintop somewhere and, I don't know, chant Unga Bunga.
We're here.
Yeah.
I've seen that movie before.
Maybe they've got some of those fingers, like they wear at the
number
football
one
games.
Finger.
Yeah, their big fingers,
Yeah.
Alien hands or something.
Oh boy.
No, but I do expect some big changes, more changes to continue now through at least the 24th.
Okay.
So probably more on the 28th. These are key dates to look out for on our part. So the 28th brings us to Thursday of the following week, I believe.
Is there significance to, like you're saying, the 28th, that stuff? Is there stuff that you can tell us? Is there, something about that?
Well, just like they have things that measure darkness or light or, spectrometers that, more than that, it's bigger than that. Consciousness and energies and those types of things. Usually at the beginning of every month, I kind of go in and I look at the ebb and the flow of things, and I'll see key dates to look out for. Now, they could be really, really good dates or really, really bad days. So like I will know ahead of time, sometimes as much as 30 days ahead of time when the consciousness, because it will read consciousness. So it'll read the consciousness with an indicator of people, negative people, positive people, something from source, and it will kind of give me a measure of what I can expect. So like it'll show up differently if it's a dark consciousness thought process that's forming in the ether, and there's a lot of it. So a lot of people are gathering around that day, that thought. And then other days will show a different type of consciousness when it's something that is going to be crossing a milestone, a hurdle. It shows up differently. Does that make sense to you? Like it shows up showing a lighter consciousness, and that means that there's going to be a positive change on that day. And there normally is. And we hit a big milestone. We cleared something major away. We, made it past a day. Like I knew yesterday went both ways, actually. It was kind of interesting what it looked like. It looked like there was a lot of dark focus on that day, and actually just as much, if not more, light focus on that day. So, normally it would have been a complete blackout, in years past. So I was excited for that because I knew something interesting was going to take place, but I just didn't really know what. So yeah. That's how those days are determined within the system. It's just gauging the consciousness, gauging energy, gauging, which direction things are coming from. And the closer we get to that day, sometimes the day moves. It could move back a day, meaning happen sooner, or it could move up a day, depending on, what's going on in the multiverse. So, yeah, it's just a system I play around with. And it's been fairly accurate one way or the other. I call them the special days. So, no, I do.
Yeah. Well, they can be special. Yeah.
Sure. and it works a lot better than Gematria and the other things that they use. If you didn't notice, the Q clock is up exactly at 9, a 9-day. It's 12/26, 9-day, 2023. And also it ends at the exact time, or very close to the exact time, when the exact time of the solstice started, which was a little after 7, I think almost 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Yeah.
So, but that's all I have for the world situation report for, hopefully might not be the last one before Christmas or on Christmas. I mean, who knows?
Okay. Well, thank you, Kim. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Miss Sunny, and I hope you have a wonderful holiday and time with your family.
Yes, thank you. You too. That wraps up today's news update. Remember, we do not have an official newscast on Monday, but like Kim said, she may come on and share some information with us. Please share UNN with your friends and family. We need everyone to come together and help restore our planet. When news happens in your area, record it and share it with us so we can help you share it with the world. Remember, if it's going to be, it's up to me. I'm Sunny Galt. Join us Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for the real news.